Okay, so last week I made a video on who would win between Ryomen Sukuna from JJK and Battle Beast from Invincible. If you want to check it out, I discussed how a fight with both the 15-figure Sukuna from the Shibuya incident as well as Meguna and how they fare against the alien warrior. However, I left out arguably the strongest form of Sukuna, the true Heian form. So in this video, we'll find out whether he can survive long enough against Battle Beast. So in last week's video, I talked about how no form of Sukuna will be able to best Battle Beast physically as his strength, durability, and speed are unmatched. Now we've already discussed Battle Beast's stats and his greatest feat, so we're going to begin with Sukuna's true form. So the Sukuna we will be using is the Heian form from the Shinjuku Showdown. This form of the sorcerer has 4 arms and 2 mouths. These added body parts allow him to chant and use hand signs more effectively. This makes it easier for him to use his domain, Malevolent Shrine, and the wall-cutting slash while simultaneously attacking or defending. One thing to note is that Sukuna was not functioning at full capacity when we see him during the Shinjuku Showdown. He had reduced RCT as well as brain damage from his domain clashes with Satoru Gojo, and as a result, he was not able to use his domain expansion Malevolent Shrine against the anti-Sukuna squad for a large portion of the fight. So for this fight, we'll be using a fresh Heian Sukuna with his domain, RCT, and walled cutting slash available. However, this form of Sukuna does not have access to the 10 Shadows technique. This means that Sukuna is fighting all alone, so no Maharaga to adapt and no Agito. Even though this form of Sukuna has better physical stats than Meguna, the absence of these two hinder him more than aid him, so without further ado, let's get into it. If you haven't seen the previous video, check it out. Basically what you need to know is that stats wise, Battle Beast clears every type of Sukuna, and that is no question. The thing that made the fight with Meguna closer was the presence of Maharaga and Agito. The addition of 2 extra fighters made the fight much more balanced, as someone like Agito held pressure and acted as a target rather than actively trying to beat Battle Beast, while Maharaga helps adapt to his immense strength and speed. However, the Heian's era Sukuna will have none of these to his aid, and this means Sukuna has less win conditions and has to beat Battle Beast's durability by himself. However, Sukuna still has ways to damage him, which don't have to beat win conditions, and one of the best examples is Cleave. If we balance the attacks by giving Battle Beast the basic amount of cursed energy of an all-sorcerer, attacks like Cleave would be able to adjust to his durability. However, this means Sukuna will have to get in proximity to Battle Beast, which is extremely hard if he is outside Malevolent Shrine. However, since the warrior is not Omni-Man or Thrag, he'll most likely allow Sukuna to land a few hits during the fight. The most viable way for Sukuna to get damage and possibly sway the balance is to use his domain expansion Malevolent Shrine. The attack makes both Dismantle and Cleave sure hit attacks while spamming them. This means that Battle Beast is constantly getting hit with Dismantle and Cleaves while he tries to get to Sukuna. However, Battle Beast does have insane durability to the point where he will be heavily affected but not dead or nearly crippled. Another win condition for Sukuna is the wall cutting slash. This attack does not rely on overwhelming someone's durability by targeting the space occupied and surrounding them, making it one of the deadliest attacks in any scenario. A well-placed wall cutting slash would result in Battle Beast's defeat, however this attack requires chance and time for openings. The Heian form allows for easier chanting and hand signs for this attack, however Battle Beast will put immense pressure onto Sukuna, making it harder. The most likely outcome is that Sukuna does not get many openings to use the slash against Battle Beast. If we think of how the fight really looks, Battle Beast most likely rushes Sukuna and heavily damages him. However, he would hold back and not directly kill Sukuna in an effort to preserve the fight. Sukuna would then create distance after realizing that Battle Beast outscales him in every metric. The fight would then consist of the sorcerer using dismantles from range while getting damaged by Battle Beast's attacks and healing using RCT. If Sukuna is lucky, Battle Beast would allow Sukuna to get close and use Cleave to keep the fight fair. Sukuna would then realize that the only viable win condition is to use Malevolent Shrine and then immediately follow with the wall cutting slash. The way he will perform this is by creating distance from Battle Beast and immediately popping Malevolent Shrine. As Battle Beast is getting shredded and making his way to Sukuna, he is taking advantage of his Heian form by chanting and creating hand signs to prepare the wall cutting slash. If Battle Beast tanks Malevolent Shrine and then gets hit with a wall cutting slash, the fight is over. However, the main issue is that this is very unlikely to happen. Battle Beast's sheer physical dominance would easily overwhelm Sukuna, even in his Heian form. The plan mentioned before would be the only way for Sukuna to win and requires setting up and surviving Battle Beast's relentless attacks, which I just can't see happening. In conclusion, Battle Beast beats Heian form Sukuna in a fight around 7 to 8 times out of 10. The remaining 2 to 3 wins from Sukuna results of a well-timed domain and use of wall cutting slash. However, the only way that he can activate these attacks is through Battle Beast's fighting mindset and lack of knowledge of the shrine technique. Not even RCT will be able to save Sukuna from his immense strength, as it would just prolong the inevitable. In my opinion, Meguna ironically has a higher chance of beating Battle Beast than the Heian era Sukuna, even though the latter is stronger. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't seen the first part, go check it out. Next video should be whether Yuta Okotsu can clear Demon Slayer's Infinity Castle arc, so watch out for that one. And anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.